Recitals are an important part of many voice studio offerings, but if you are tired of the long line of performances and families who are eager to leave after their child has performed, episode 215 of the Full Voice podcast is for you. My special guest is New York voice teacher, singer, and actor Elizabeth Saunders. And our topic is about creating themed recitals for community connection and profit. There are so many exciting teacher takeaways right here on the Full Voice podcast. The Full Voice podcast is brought to you by Full Voice Music, a proudly Canadian music education company creating resources for teachers working with young singers. For over 20 years, we've partnered with leading voice and music education experts to bring you research-informed workbooks, textbooks, and professional development. And of course, our songs that kids love to sing. Now, if you would like first access to our live teacher workshops, new releases, and delightful coupon codes, you can sign up for the VIP teacher newsletter at fullvoicemusic.com/newsletter. And to our friends and colleagues in Australia, don't forget to check out our dedicated Australian website that serves you locally. That's au.fullvoicemusic.com. Hello, thank you, and welcome. Welcome to this wonderful conversation. I am so excited, my friends. We're talking about recitals. We're talking about performances. Something that is, if you're like me, I always had a love-hate relationship with recitals. I knew how important they are. They're so important to give our students opportunities to perform. And but I also would get so frustrated sometimes because, our families or our students didn't recognize how much work they were for us and how much time and energy goes into them. I really think this conversation with Elizabeth is going to help you elevate your upcoming concerts, performance, recitals, coffee houses, whatever you offer for your studio. It's such a beautiful conversation. So, without further delay, my friend and colleague, Elizabeth Saunders. Welcome to the Full Voice podcast, my new friend and colleague, Elizabeth Saunders. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
It is so nice to have you here. Thank you so much. So I had the pleasure of presenting our play-based learning, engagement, and lesson pacing workshop to the New York Singing Teachers Association. And as we were setting up, Elizabeth was telling me about her upcoming concert themes, her recital themes, and it was such a great conversation. I immediately said, okay, we need to talk about this on the podcast. So thank you for joining me.
My pleasure. Happy to be here.
Before we dive into our topic, which I think is a very important topic. So we're talking about creating themed recitals for fun, for community connection, and for profit. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. I think it's a conversation that is so very important. Before we dive into that, tell us a little bit what's going on in your studio. Who are you working with? What's a typical week for you?
Oh, God. I work with the total variety of students. I have opera singer students. I have students on Broadway. I have doing regional theater as well. I have a couple of people who are learning to match pitches.
Oh, nice.
And, just everything in between. What matters more to me in my studio is what the quality of the connection is between trainer and trainee than what someone's goals are. What their goals are very serious to me, and I treat them with great respect and great diligence. But what really matters to me is just what is the interaction like, and does it feel just like a good, healthy connection?
Thank you so much for that. What a wonderful intro into this, because as we're talking about our recitals, right? So one of the reasons why I really wanted to talk about this topic, my evil agenda. One of the things that breaks my heart when I see this in forums or when I talk to other teachers, other teaching professionals, is this assumption that recitals need to be an out-of-pocket expense, like we owe it to our students to find them these performance opportunities and then also make it, and I'm doing air quotes here to my listeners, affordable or reasonable or whatever. And I love what you say about, creating themed song recitals for fun, because obviously a theme can really make makes it, there's continuity and excitement. But I love the community connection and profit. So tell everybody the theme for your recital coming up.
Okay. It's a dog recital.
I love it. That's so cool.
It's all songs about dogs.
Oh my gosh.
And I will use the sharing about this. So this was suggested to me by a very dear friend of mine, who I've also studied with. I've trained with her, and she, I was working on another themed recital, and she said, while you're doing this, she said, like the AKC here in New York City, she was like, she's so funny. She's like, there's this museum of the dog here. And she said, and she said also, it's like, she's really into dogs. She's really like, she's always had them her whole life. And she said, she's like, dog people. She's like, we love our dogs. And she said she was like, what do I think, she's like, I think are you interested in like putting together a dog recital? And she said, like, you could talk to the AKC about it. And she's like, and also, she was so funny. She says, and at these events, she said at the big AKC show and like that, she said, there's all these breakout things. There's all these entertainment. And she goes, and dog people have a lot of money. She's like, a lot of people who go to these museums, they have a lot of money.
You have to have a lot of money to have a dog these days. Yes.
To do all this training and everything, right? And she said, I think it would be delightful. She said, I'll bet you could put together a program and you could reach out to these people about it. So, to reach out and look into it. And I thought, oh, this is hilarious. I never thought about this, but I thought it was so delightful. And of course, one of the first songs I thought of was from Lucky Stiff, At Times Like This. If you know that at times like this, a girl could use a dog.
Oh,
Other
I
people
love that.
need romance, dancing, right? So I thought, okay, I'm going to take on the challenge. And at the beginning I just thought it was so nutty, and I'd like, nuttiness helps inspire, like it helps me have more fun. It helps me take things less seriously. Right. So I thought, okay, like what can I think of? Well, Googled it and I thought, okay, dog songs. Well, I was coming up with all these pop ones, and like, I could do some of that, but like, I'm mostly a classical singer / musical theater, like that's more my, what my throat does, my artistic sensibilities with my background. So I was running into a lot of roadblocks because I was like going to have to make arrangements of songs that would work better for me. So, and I didn't want to just throw a bunch of songs together. And then I realized, I thought, I love doing new music, and we really need to be doing more music of living composers. And there are so many composers out there. There are so many composers out there doing beautiful, really compelling, interesting music. But because of the times we live in, because we are not living in a space where these people are in their community and there's an ecosystem for it in the local whatevers, right? There's just, people aren't knowing about their music. People aren't doing it, right? But we have social media. So I went on Facebook and I thought, there's got to be like maybe there's like art song composer Facebook group. So I found like one or two, and they're like connecting singers with art song composers. And I put out a post. I said, hey, I'm working on a recital about dogs. Does anyone here, have any of you written any songs about dogs, or do any of you know of any that you might want to let me know? And I was like, I'm sort of going towards art song, but a little bit of musical theater style or whatever, like whatever, and any language, doesn't matter, what language. So I'm going to read off the Dog Recital program that
okay.
ended up happening. Okay.
All right, wait a second. I gotta preempt this. So my friends who are listening, here is a repertoire recommendation list of songs of dogs. This is like a huge teacher takeaway. Awesome. I might have some to add in there. Can I add in after you? Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Dog songs.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Dog Recital. Okay. And I'll tell you how it opens. So I don't do a program with this. I talk to the audience.
Okay.
I talk to the audience partly because I don't want them seeing what's coming up next, because it's the songs it's just such an eclectic, fun thing. I don't want them to be seeing ahead. Okay. I don't want them to.
Oh.
Because then it's like, wait, what? And even though the styles are all over the place, because it's all this theme and it's storytelling within each group, I found that it works very well. Okay. So the program starts and with at times like this. Okay. And it just starts in. I just come out. I don't say anything yet. I just start singing this. Okay. And because for those people who don't know it, it moves into, at times like this, a girl could use a dog.
Okay.
And so that's such a fun, delightful way. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about the little scene set up and blah, blah, blah. Here we all are, blah, 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 blah. Or here I am, blah, blah, blah. And then it comes into times like this, a girl could use a dog. So that, I just think it's such a fun way to open this recital. Okay. And then after that, so each set has a heading. So it has a title. So the next set is called Two Tellings of the Tragic Tale of Mama Hubbard and Her Pooch.
Okay.
So I already knew a song from Old Mother Hubbard. It's set in the style of Handel, actually. And Victor Healy Hutchison wrote it it was like the early 1900s. And it's like, Old Mother Hubbard, she went to the cupboard to fetch her poor dog a bone. Right, it's total Handelian. And it's actually a really cool song for younger singers who you're trying to get them to learn how to, or even any age.
With
it's
that
so
melismatic,
funny to be doing.
Yeah.
To be doing this stuff. It's actually really well written. And the text is so funny. It's easy to sing it and not feel trapped by, oh God, I'm singing Handel now. It's supposed to sound a certain way. And I must sound bad because my voice hasn't come through. You're singing about Old Mother Hubbard.
All right. You know what I'm going to ask for is this list, because I will put it in the show notes, because I bet teachers are going to want to research some of these
Okay,
pieces.
cool.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
So someone I found out about, I can't remember if it was one of the composers on the songwriting group, or I ended up with this set of these two songs because David L. McIntyre, I think he's Canadian. He might be a Canadian composer.
Okay.
I found out that he might have sent it to me, or maybe someone who knew this sent it to me, has a song called Mrs. Hubbard.
Oh.
And he has a whole song cycle from Mother Goose Sonnets of John V. Hicks. And it's a little bit of a retelling of the tale. And it's really sort of melodramatic and really kind of fun. And the music is sort of romantic. And it's quite fun. And the retelling of the words, I won't take the time to share it. But if y'all find it,
we'll put a link.
We'll let you know. Okay. So second set is Two Tellings of the Tragic Tale of Mama Hubbard and Her Pooch. Okay. Then the third set is a song cycle by Bruce Lazarus, who's a New York City composer who I did not know, but I found out about this because I put the post on this Facebook group. Oh. It's called Going to the Dogs. And it is 5 art songs. It's a real song cycle. And the poetry for each song, really interesting. First one was written, the first poem's called Song of the Mischievous Dog. The poem was written by Dylan Thomas when he was 11 years old.
Oh, wow.
Okay. The second song, engraved on the collar of His Highness Dog, was written by Alexander Pope. It was an inscription written for some noble's dog or something have on there. Okay. And then Henry, I can't remember, Asquith, called a poem called The Hairy Dog. Then Jonathan Swift, Advice to a Dog Painter.
Oh, wow.
Which is quite lovely and sweet. And it's going to be quite sweet for AKC Museum of the Dog. We'll talk about it in a minute. And then J.E. Donovan, The Dachshund. Beautiful set.
I have one of those.
Going to the Dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, right. So that's the second one. Along the way, I also learned because, oh, this is what I also did. And I share this because it can really help people think about, like, if they want to find it, like they're working with the theme, but they're like, I don't like how should I Google this? How should I even look for songs?
Yeah, yeah.
I started to think about composers I really like to sing. And then I was just like, Mozart, dog song. Beethoven, dog song. Haydn, dog song. Charles Ives, dog song.
Taylor Swift, dog song.
Dog song,
I bet.
right?
Well, she's a cat person. It wouldn't work.
She's a cat person. Yeah, yeah. So I found out that both Beethoven and Haydn wrote a song about a poodle.
Oh, wow.
Beethoven wrote his when he was like a teenager and his best friend's poodle died. So he wrote this and wrote a poem about it or something. And so, yeah. So, and the Haydn wrote this one that's like, it was like a neighbor, like the wife of a friend of his wrote this. It's like 20 verses or something, 20 verse song about this long drawn out, really shaggy dog story about like this poodle. And it goes on and on and on. This song would be 18 minutes if I did it. My pianist and I, we just decided, like, I picked my 3 favorite verses.
That's probably wise.
Yeah. And this set is called Beethoven and Haydn Speak of Poodles. Okay. Beethoven and Haydn Speak of Poodles. And I tell them, I tell the audience, I'm like, so, with the second song, this woman wrote the poem. It's got like 18 verses. We'd be here 20 minutes for me just trying to get through this Haydn song. And I just put it this way to him too. Like we 20 minutes for me, and it's all in German. So most of you aren't going to know what I'm saying anyway. So here's the gist, and I'm going to do 3 verses for you. And here's the gist. And so I do that. Then the next set, Pups from Opposite Sides of the Tracks. This has Benjamin Britten's Lone Dog, which he wrote. His brother worked for a children's school, a boys' school. And they had like something on every Friday. It was like Singing Fridays or something. And this was it was meant to be done with a boys' chorus, but it's all unison. And it's about like, I'm a lone dog, da, 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 da. And so I sort of have fun with it. And it's like this really rugged dog who, is out on his own in the world. And then I contrast that with Jake Heggie's Sophie's Song, which is text by Frederica von Stade about that von Stade wrote in honor of Jennifer Larmore's Schnauzer. And it's a lovely kind of fun song. And even though the songs are very, very different, when I combine them, it was Pups from Opposite Sides of the Tracks. There's just this fun looking at these 2 different types of dogs. One who is like out there and and the other is this dog who has been on opera stages around the world, and it's a sort of jazzy thing. So that's Pups from Opposite Sides of the Tracks. Then I have Dogs and Romance. There's this great song by Ray Henderson back like in the early 1900s. Called My Dog Loves Your Dog. And it's from the Fox musical picture, George White's Scandals. I don't know, And it's this person it has their dog at the dog park, or they're walking their dog. And there's this other person that they always see with their dog. And the 2 dogs really, really like each other. And the singer is pretty attracted to the owner of the other dog. And so it's kind of like, hey, our dogs really like each other. Maybe we should go out. It's very, very cute. And then I found another song, actually this retreat that I give that, we were talking about, or that we'll probably mention later. One of the singers who attended, my vocal communication retreat, we were talking about this dog recital, and she said, oh, you've got to know about this song by Susan Werner called Dog. And it's from the set. She's like a singer-songwriter, this Susan Werner. And it takes place the morning after a couple has spent the night together, and the dog, the guy invites the dog up on the bed, and then he lets the dog lick his face, and she's like, oh no. And she's like as soon as everything was going great until that happened.
That's
and so this
tragic.
song is about that. So that's Dogs and Romance. My Dog Loves Your Dog, and then the song Dog in all caps.
Right.
Then I have Songs in Remembrance. And this has Stephen Foster's song Old Dog Tray. It has Charles Ives' song, which is not directly about a dog, but it's a song of his called Slow March. And the little subtitle in parentheses is inscribed to the children's faithful friend. And it's a little one-piece thing. And it's like a song talking about as they walked to where they buried the pet and the beautiful space that it's in. And it's so lovely. It is so poignant. It is so special. And now there's another song that I have not been able to add yet because I can't get through it. I just can't get through it. It is so stunning. It is so lovely. It's by Phil Hall, who is a really fine music director, pianist and music director and coach here in New York City. And he wrote a song after his one of his dogs passed, and it's called What Do I Do with the Love? And it's saying, this time when the first time I saw you, I knew I would love you forever. And from the look in your eyes, I could see you felt the same way too. And he says, as I packed the memories away, I thought of what is, basically saying, you taught me so much in this time we got together, but you never taught me what would I do with the love that I have for you when you're gone.
Oh,
I mean, it's absolutely, it's so beautiful. I can't sing it yet because it's just too much. It's just too much for me, but it is absolutely beautiful. It's so lovely and wonderful and an incredible song for someone to sing about dogs. And then there is also a wonderful composer named Ashi Day, a young woman. She wrote a mini opera it's called For Whom the Dog Tolls. And it is for soprano, piano, duck call, and whistle. And it tells the story of Piper. Well, it is from the point of view of Piper, who is a Nova Scotia duck tolling retriever.
There we go.
On a duck hunt with her owner.
Wow.
And this is written for soprano. Ashi has been very, very kind with me since I'm someone who sang as a mezzo for years and I'm now moving into soprano. She and I are working together. She and my pianist and I are working together to rework some of it so that I can sing it. And she's really written in all kinds of stuff that really reflects how Nova Scotia duck tolling retrievers, this tolling that they do, this particular sound that they do. And there's certain ways that there's reasons why they're used for duck hunts and like this, ways that they behave that are like foxes and like this. So anyway, it is a really, really terrific, like 10-minute long piece.
Wow.
That is so fun. And if you've got like a sort of a musical theater bent to you, it is absolutely, it's a real tour de force and it's so fun and delightful. So that's the Dog Recital.
Full voice music workbooks are designed to support young singers with structured sequential learning that develops musicianship, ear training, sight singing, music literacy, and more. Each workbook has been researched and developed to be flexible, complementing your teaching approach and the genre of music that you teach. Workbooks make it easier for teachers, students, and families to track and celebrate progress throughout the year. Full voice workbooks are available in the United States and Canada at fullvoicemusic.com. Australian editions are available at au.fullvoicemusic.com, and you can find our workbook series on Amazon worldwide. Visit our website to download free sample lessons that you can try with your students today. I want to talk about the very special recital that you did for your mother.
Okay, so I went home to care for my mom when she came under hospice a few years ago. And I was told that she had like a few weeks to maybe a month. Mm-hmm. And Mom and I actually ended up getting a year and a half together.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I did not anticipate that I'd be living on the other side of the country for 2 years when I first flew out. And about a year in, not quite a year in, I started to, I tried to keep up with my lessons online as I could, but she needed 24-hour care. She was in a wheelchair even when she was released from hospice. She couldn't live alone, and I wasn't going to leave. I wasn't going to, have her go into a facility or something. So I started thinking about just putting programs together. And this is actually when like a couple of themed recitals came out, the dog recital and the hunting one that I mentioned to you and like that earlier. And there was a organization called the Southern Caregiver Resource Center. Oh. The Caregiver Resource Center in California, it offers support services to 24/7 unpaid caregivers. And they had stress reduction classes that you could do online. It was during COVID, so stress reduction classes you could do online. And when you are online for that class, they have a professional caregiver who they pay for, who comes to watch your loved one, so that you have a couple of hours of respite and you're doing this like stress reduction thing and like that. And they also have counselors you can talk to, like social workers, if you just need to, talk and things. And they also have like wheelchair, learning how to help someone in a wheelchair and best practices for various things and learning about dementia and, things like this. So they were tremendously helpful to me when I was out there, tremendously helpful. And I started to think, and I was so struck by the unique concerns of the 24/7 unpaid caregiver and the life experiences that you're having. And there's so much, there's obviously there's some pain in it. There's, difficulty, right? But there's so much beauty and there's so much love. There can be, right? And I started to think, I kept thinking, what is something I need to get out? I need to be singing. I need to do something, but I need to be here with Mom. And so I created an entire program around caregiving. And one thing that became became very obvious to me in caring for Mom was she would have loved to go out to see a live performance, but there was no way. She had increasing dementia. There were so many concerns that might be there in terms of maybe she would start talking or in the middle of something or have to go to the bathroom, who knows, and she's in her wheelchair, all these concerns. And I thought I wish there were concerts put together for people to come to where there's excellent music, where it's really fine stuff for people in these circumstances to come with their loved one. And I thought, I can do that. Okay, sure. Well, since I'm having the thought and I do these things, why don't I do this? And so I reached out to the church I grew up in, reached out to the pastor there and said, hey, I've got this idea to do a fundraising concert for the Southern Caregiver Resource Center because they have been so very helpful. And he was like, oh my God. He's like, yeah. He was like when? Like, how do you want to do it? I said, we'll have to work out some things and, there'll be a lot of arrangements. But I think it's really important. I hope it's really helpful to share some aspects of this concert. Okay. So before I share what was on the program, I'm going to share how I created it and how I marketed it. So, I let people know at the get-go, anyone was welcome, but it says a benefit concert for the Southern Caregiver Resource Center, but the word was put out that this is for you to be at if you are a caregiver with a loved one, or if you are not even the caregiver, but you have a loved one who's in a facility and they have memory loss, they have dementia, they have something going on, you can bring them to this. It is not only okay, you are encouraged, okay? You are encouraged for this. And what I did with the program, so my mom, she had glaucoma in one eye and it was hard for her to see things, but she would like read the newspaper with a magnifying glass right up to her good eye, right? And so I made the programs, I printed them up on 11 by 17 and in large print. And even though let me just look at the program again. I think all the songs were in English. Yeah, all the songs are in English, but I put all of the lyrics
Oh, how
in
lovely.
the program.
Yeah.
Because also for me, like I hear a song that was really special to me. I want to find the words. I want to be remembered remember those things. And especially since the program it was all things that for me as a caregiver for mom, and having been in the trenches with her for a year and a half by this time, that somehow fed me. They fed my experience. They fed me in some way. They gave me something that buoyed me, or that made me felt like I was seen and heard. Okay, so it was so the program was set up so that it was in a place in the sanctuary where if people needed to wheel their loved one out, there's a handicapped accessible bathroom back in the room beyond the sanctuary, right? So everything was set up. If they're making noises and whatever it is, it's fine. So big program, all the words, so that if the person the person who is not the caregiver is listening, there's something they like, they can come back and be reminded of it. Or the caregiver can circle things if there's something that was meaningful to them, right? So I did that. Now, program started with John Denver's song, Perhaps Love.
Oh, I love that song.
It's such a great song.
It's a great song.
Right. And it says, perhaps love is this, and perhaps it's this, and perhaps it's this, and maybe it's these hard things, and maybe it's these beautiful things. And it's all of it, right? So it started with that. Then, so the songs in it were they all either had to do with being there for each other, love and being there for each other, belonging at home, because I have become, since caring for mom, a vehement advocate for, if there is any way and it is safe and okay for that loved one to be at home, go out of your way, do whatever needs to happen to do what can happen so that can be where they are, that can be where they are. And I figured my mom brought me into this world and did all kinds of things for me when I was not capable. The least I can do, is figure out some way to make it work, to be there for her. And I was lucky that in the midst of COVID, there were certain openings with things, right? But still, so it is essential inside of me. It is such a part of me that belonging at home is something we, especially in America, we need to take much more seriously than we do for end-of-life concerns. So belonging at home, love and being there for each other, and also frailty of memory.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right? So opened with Perhaps Love. The second song was My House from Matilda. It's about this is my house, and this is, and then the song a student of mine, dear friend, and now after years, and also a longtime student of mine, Susan Quintine, she and I songwrite together now as for the last few years. And so we ended up having to have her portion of it. She was going to fly out, but she was caring for her father-in-law, so she ended up not being able to come out. We had hers on video, and we had big, huge screens. She sang Home from The Wiz.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right? There is an incredible song, absolutely incredible song, especially for a concert like this, that Jerry Herman wrote for the Grand Tour called I Belong Here. And that song, the words are incredible. They're absolutely incredible. I sang I Won't Last a Day Without You. Sang Candle on the Water from Pete's Dragon. I'll be your candle on the water, right? My love for you will always burn, right?
Yeah.
There's there were a couple of local musicians, local instrumentalists who I came upon when I lived at that. One played the ukulele and one plays the what do you call it? The metal guitar. I can't remember what it's called.
Dobro? Is it a dobro? The metal?
No. It's
lap steel?
lap steel. Yeah, steel guitar. Yeah, okay. Lap steel. Yeah.
Okay.
With the ukulele player, I did Let Me Be There. We did it together. We did Let Me Be There together. And there's my student Susan. She sang I Will Carry You, which is an Ellie Holcomb song. Then on the second half, there's a song that we were inspired to write from because of one of the professional caregivers who would come over to watch mom, like for a couple of hours, from time to time, so I could get a couple of hours, rest. She had a situation that I won't go into now, but we ended up writing a song called Caregivers because we realized how much people who come to the professionals even who come to care for us, I saw several of them went out of the way for me and mom to be there at our most dire need. And they left their families for certain people, when they could have been, they really went above and beyond for us. And so we wrote this song called Caregivers. I sang Charles Ives' My Native Land now meets my eye. The old oaks raise their boughs on high, violets greeting seem. Ah, 'tis a dream, And when in distant lands I roam, my heart will wander to my home. While these visions and fancies teem, still let me dream. So this just fit in very well for me with regard to frailties of memory and circumstances mom would have memories of, and being home and not knowing where she was and all of this. Also Susan sang, The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face. Right? Right? This one I was from Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812. There's a song called No One Else, and the song finishes with, I can't remember the lines, but it's this, maybe he's here today, maybe he's here already, and he's sitting in the drawing room, and I simply forgot. Like she's remembering all of this beauty and all this everything and the love and this, and then it finishes with, oh wait, what? And so in this context, this song was it had to be on the program, right? A song that Susan and I wrote called Hidden Places, that came about with regard, it was a song we wrote where we're talking about, it's the situation when you're cleaning out the house after kids have gone away or the house is being sold because parents are gone and like this, and you're going through things and you're reflecting on the meaning of things and you're reflecting on life and what's been given up and what you have and like this. With the lap steel guitar guy and the ukulele player, G.D. Walker and Peter Hicks, we did Canadian Sunset. So we're trying to think of places, fun stuff that they knew, but that was also like dealing with location and place. Because I never knew. Maybe someone was from someone had memories of Canada or, back home in Indiana or something. But we did Canadian Sunset, the theme from A Summer Place, and Back Home in Indiana, those songs. And then there's also, a great song, Kurt Weill and Alan Lerner. It's from a show called Love Life, and it's called Here I'll Stay. And that, if you want to find some amazing lines, I won't take the time to give you those lines, but you want to find some amazing lines for a song, a concert with this theme, Here I'll Stay from Love Life is extraordinary. So that was this program, and mom was able to be there. She lived long enough to be there. And it was me pouring out my love for mom. It was me strengthening myself. It was me wanting to share, again, creating community, right? Sharing these experiences and hopefully having these songs speak to other people's experiences while creating this place.
What kind of feedback did you get after with all the people that you invited and now everybody else is like, what kind of feedback did you get from the church, from the pastor?
Yeah. Okay. So this I totally did not anticipate. So I went to people who I knew around, either in the area or not, and said, hey, I'm doing this benefit concert for this organization, and here's the website links. You can see what they're about. And there's a donation place for it. They'll be taking donations there, but also if you just want to donate it and support it, there's a link here, and you'll be able to watch the video on YouTube after, the recital on YouTube later. Before the recital even happened, so every year this organization, they do a big fundraiser concert, okay? This was not that. This was my own little thing that I created, just wanting to give back to them. When the guys, I had a couple of representatives from there, come and speak at it, before we did the free will offering and the intermission, right? And they talked about what they did. Before the concert, he said to me, they had already received more dollar donations than their big fundraiser.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
They had already received more. And
that was
even
before. Wow.
That was before the free will offering that was taken during the concert and other things that trickled in after the concert through the website. I just wanted to give something back. All I wanted to do was give myself a way to use my art during this time in a way that was meaningful, right? And create community and give back to them, right? And it ended up doing that. We don't know what good could come from doing these things.
Now, I don't want to let you go until you tell everybody about your 3-day retreat, because I had to Google. I Googled the Catskill Mountains and I was like, oh my gosh, I would like to go there. So I want my listeners to know that Elizabeth puts on this incredible retreat. So please tell everybody about it. And also, I'm so honored. Elizabeth has this beautiful discount for Full Voice podcast listeners. So if you are looking for one of those beautiful retreats, like, you are in the right place. Okay. Tell everybody about your. Now, when is it though? When is
So it's periodically throughout the year during non-snowy months. It's 3 days. It's 3 days. It's from a Sunday dinner time until Wednesday, like late morning. And it is called, I'll read some of the things off of my
all good.
brochure for it. So it is called Exploring Communication Through Song, Breath, Voice, and Mindset. And here, I'll start here. Imagine a 3-day log cabin retreat immersed in the forest of the Catskills, where you will be guided into deep exploration of yourself, your voice, and your relationship with your voice as a mode of communication. All retreats are small, 2 to 4 participants total, to create the most personalized experience, and I facilitate it. While it's beneficial to anyone interested in exploring their relationship with their voice and vocal communication, and no prior musical or acting experience is needed in order to participate fully, it can be of particular interest and benefit to actors and singers, and serves as professional development training.
Oh, beautiful.
Like lessons would.
Yeah.
Okay, now, and what do we do? So, using Meisner-based acting exercises, Anthony Braxton's improvisational ghost trance music. Anthony Braxton is a MacArthur Genius Grant awarded composer and multi-instrumentalist who created his own language system of music. And I've performed and recorded with Anthony for a number of years. And I introduce people to his ghost trance music and how it plays out, and we all do it together. Inspiration from Kristen Linklater's book, Finding Shakespeare's Voice, and specially selected breath and vocal exercises. It is a 3-day retreat-style workshop wherein different aspects of vocal and non-vocal communication are targeted by each activity. 1, social conditioning, noticing and repatterning maladaptive beliefs and behaviors with regard to communicating one's thoughts and feelings. 2, maintaining connection to oneself while remaining present and responsive to another. 3, the stability and flexibility of the vocal instrument to maintain strength and responsiveness when in potentially intimidating, threatening, or emotional circumstances. And 4, learning to identify, trust, and act on one's healthy instincts.
Beautiful. What an amazing retreat. So it to me, it sounds like a beautiful space for people who know they need to show some self-love, some care, a healing space. It really does sound like a beautiful opportunity for someone that recognizes that they need some me time with their voice. I love that.
Yeah, and to get into these zones where that usually they don't get covered in acting class. They don't get covered in voice lessons. They don't get covered in these things. These are the things, each of these parts of the workshop, even the curriculum, each of these 4 different aspects of it, are either things that I learned in my training as an actor or as a singer, or like with Anthony Braxton's music, I was hired to do it. And they all had very, they all worked on me in such deep ways.
I was about to say.
That helped me break down the patterns of who I was to help me become who I want to be.
I wanted to say, can you tell people about the discount that you're going to give them for the retreat?
Yes, it's a $200 discount.
You are so generous. That is lovely. So if you are interested in Elizabeth's retreat, please reach out and just tell her you heard her on the Full Voice podcast, and she'll know what you're talking about. Elizabeth, I want to thank you for this conversation. It has been just beautiful, and your passion and how you've given yourself to your work and to the community. It's just so inspiring. Thank you so much. And I look forward to someday coming and visiting your cabin in the woods. I think that I live in the woods here in Nova Scotia, but it'd be cool to go to somebody else's cabin for a while.
Yeah, and we can shoot some arrows.
Yeah, I would love to shoot some arrows. Oh my God, that might be dangerous for me, but thank you so much for this wonderful conversation.
My deep pleasure. Thank you.
A very special thank you to Elizabeth for that heartfelt conversation. And I know, my friends, I'm sure you have lots of inspiration to take back to your studio, to your students. As always, I am wishing you inspired teaching, incredible recitals, and happy singing.